Hi, I'm Matt. I'm a sophomore in the Industrial Design program here at NC State. Today I'll be talking to Tim Allen. Tim leads the global product design team at Airbnb. What I'm most looking forward to today in my conversation with Tim is definitely kind of understanding how his journey was and what were the high and low points in his process of getting to where he is today. I'm definitely kind of eager to hear what advice he has for young Black designers and creatives like myself, and how they can kind of get themselves to that point and that level that they aspire to be at. It's nice to meet you, man.
Great to meet you too. Thanks for having me.
Let's get started. So tell me a little about yourself and the work that you do.
Yeah, sure. So I'm VP of Design at Airbnb. And basically we design digital products that enable hosts and guests. So hosts need to be able to list, optimize, and manage their properties. And guests need to be able to search, find, book, and enjoy their stays at those properties. So the overall goal really is to orchestrate product design and UX user experience across web, mobile, desktop, even physical sort of real life interactions and spaces too. And so my job is to basically enable, set the conditions for my design team to do the best design work of their lives, attract, hire, retain the greatest possible design talent, and create the insight and vision for the product over the next couple of years.
So tell me, how did you get interested in design, specifically industrial design? Were there any influences on your journey and kind of how you got here?
Yeah, my journey was just a lesson in learning and expanding horizons. Just sort of like kept kind of it's sort of like the reverse of a sort of an onion peel there. I mean, I started out airbrushing. That's basically like traditional art, I guess.
Yeah.
Painting in high school. My dad got me airbrush set when I was a freshman. I spent a whole summer trying to perfect that because it was hot, at the time.
Yeah.
Just like airbrushing clothes and stuff like that. And that like blossomed. By the time I was sophomore, junior, I had a whole business. I was doing boat cars. I was doing like signage for companies and stuff like that. And I didn't even know about design school. So like the first little bit of awareness was like, oh, there's design school, and this could be even like there's more stuff I could do with it. And so I didn't know what a portfolio was either. I just took like the book of work I had for that my business at that time really, and applied to design school. The only design school I applied to was NC State. I didn't even know about RISD or anything. I didn't know about anything. And then I got in. So it's just sort of like this, series of like enlightening events and like people like Pat Fitzgerald, Chandra Cox, and so forth. Back then there wasn't any interaction design actually didn't exist. This is how old I am, right? So I'm an OG. We had to like piece together like courses in psychology and industrial design because you're talking about products and ergonomics, and then we had to like bring in the art factor, and then there was like this multimedia thing that was called back then. And so you had to like piece together stuff.
So can you tell me a little bit about your first years after college and, when you kind of got into the workforce?
I was kind of set up pretty well because, again, like when I was in high school, I was basically working full time on the airbrushing stuff. So I was kind of used to doing like basically not sleeping, I guess. So by the time I had like junior year, I was working. I was doing a co-op with IBM, and then senior year, I literally worked full time at a video game company. It was called Interactive Magic back then. It was in Cary. So I was like working, and when I graduated, it wasn't as difficult, I guess, to line up a role. Ended up going to IBM. I already had experience working. Which also like led me into this leadership and management track. 1 year out of college, and I also had a great manager that was an ally, Chris Paul. He had me managing people like older than me. So he really believed in me, and that's also not only was I sort of excelling in the craft, but I was also learning a ton about management and business and strategy and developing people.
So after a long day, in the office or in the studio, how do you like to relax and de-stress, especially during, a pandemic?
Oh man, yeah. Right now it's a pretty stressful time for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I usually would do more. Now it's a little limited with pandemic and everything, but I mean, I've got two small children. I have a 18-month-old
Oh,
daughter,
you're busy.
girl, and I have a 3.5-year-old. And so they keep me busy. I just love playing with them outside, going to the parks. I run a ton. So I've got this double stroller thing going. You'll see me
Oh
like
yeah.
I love hot yoga.
Hot yoga is definitely a new one for me. I haven't gotten that answer often.
I'd advise you to try
Yeah,
it.
I'm definitely interested in trying that one out. We'll have to see how that goes. So tell me, as a black designer, how does culture affect your experience, and even your approach? When you're faced with new design challenges or even a new project.
Man, I think in some ways, the people who've experienced kind of the most amount of exclusion are the most equipped to embrace empowering people and efforts that encourage inclusion. And so I've experienced a good deal of exclusion as of many people of color, as like a marginalized group in design. So a lot of what influences my design as an individual contributor and definitely as a leader, a manager of like a large global team, is inclusion, is empowerment. Um, it's about designing for people, not just certain groups of people, but all people. So it's constantly on my mind. So I've really been like diving first into inclusive design as a practice. So yeah, it's for me that culture of being underrepresented, under invested in, and so forth. Just like it compels me to shift that within my own team, which I have more responsibility around, and then the product itself, and then hopefully like the communities of customers that we have too.
So is that something you tapped into early, or was that something you kind of learned further on into your career?
Yeah, that's definitely a journey. I don't know if you have the confidence or kind of just wherewithal to really understand that
Yeah.
at first. I think I did have like people. I'll mention Chandra again. Folks
Mhm.
like yeah, the art and design program in general instill like this sense of like social responsibility. So I think as a student, what really one event was going to not South Africa, West Africa, Ghana. I think there's probably still programs
Okay.
for that, but so sort of one of the first students to go over there and kind of experience a kind of a different side of my ancestry and history, and so that started to bring out a little bit more just kind of understanding and context and so forth
Very good.
that really kind of propelled me forward in that aspect.
So, in times when things may be uneasy or controversial, how do you feel that, your platform of being a figurehead and someone that's looked up to, how do you think that can bring light to black designers or just people of color in general?
Yeah, I think it's like reaching back for one and pushing folks forward and just behaving in a conscious manner, um, being moral, being empathetic, trying to create collectives of people that believe and support the same type of goals. Uh, yeah, and then just like build on what's universally human.
Yeah.
There's like universal human truths. Like we all want to belong, we all want to connect, we all want to be creative and so forth. And then while you elevate those universal truths, there's the nuance of understanding like what makes all of us unique as well. And so we all have our own lenses of what belonging means and so forth. So it's really kind of going between those two kind of elevations of universal and unique.
So lastly, to the black designers, mainly the black students out there who are thinking about, maybe possibly pursuing a career in design, and they might still be on the fence, what's the message that you have for them?
I say your unique view of the world is sorely needed in an extremely homogenous industry. Um, and so it's not going to be easy to develop your voice. That's just like any artist or
Yeah.
designer has to do that, regardless of race or gender or any of these factors. But in addition to that difficulty, being underrepresented makes it that much more difficult. But it's totally worth it. And there are numerous companies, brands, agencies, consultancies that are craving new approaches, new ways of seeing the world, new ways that apply to like new ways of developing products or new audiences to consider for the business and so forth. So your contribution, your impact can be great. And it's just a matter of awareness, sponsorship, networking, and so forth. So really go after, and then, once you have a spectrum of options, start to really dig into culture. Like take culture very seriously as you start to get options for employment.
So I didn't put this one in your email question list, but I oftentimes ask, people that I interview or just other creatives and other designers what their favorite, musical artist or genre is. I definitely feel like, music plays a lot into kind of your style and just kind of your overall persona. So who's your favorite musical artist?
Oh, that's a good one. Favorite artist. I mean, the first person that comes to mind, like if I'm in flow.
Yeah, I would say, when you're in your zone and your working mode, music definitely kind of puts you in that headspace to kind of just get the work done and crank it out.
Oh, that's big.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I go old school with it. I don't know if it's just because that's all I listen to for a good period of time. But whenever I need to reach down and actually get down to it, I'll have some Biggie on.
Yeah, oftentimes I ask that question, not really for any particular reason, but I like to think and kind of understand maybe, how other designers get their style or where they get their style from. For me, I personally, it's kind of funny, but I personally like Earth, Wind, and Fire. They're my go-to. It's probably mainly because of, growing up in the summers with my grandparents. I get that older touch and that older style from them. But it's definitely my go-to, yeah.
Yeah. My dad and his kids have Earth, Wind, and Fire blasted. So I'm with you on that one.
Well, it was great talking to you, man.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks a lot.
No problem.
Good talking to you.
Yep, I wish you the best. It was a pleasure hearing about your journey and your experiences, okay? Take care.